Where is the new Apple TV? If you've been waiting and wondering why nothing's shown up yet, you're not imagining it. Apple's little black box hasn't had a big hardware update in a while, and the current model is still running a chip that first shipped with the iPhone 13. So what's really going on? When could the next Apple TV actually arrive? And what upgrades will make it worth your spot under the TV? Stick with me, because I'm going to break down the most likely release window, the features that matter, the rumors you should take seriously, and whether you should buy now or hold out a little longer. Let's set the stage quickly. The Apple TV 4K that most people have today uses Apple's A15 chip. It's reliable, smooth, and fantastic for streaming, but that chip is now multiple generations old. For your living room, that matters. It limits what developers can do with higher-end games. It holds back some cutting-edge video tech, and most importantly, it doesn't line up with the next wave of AI features Apple is rolling out across the ecosystem. That's why the next Apple TV is expected to step up to an A17 Pro class system on a chip, the same architecture Apple used to push console-style gaming on the iPhone 15 Pro. 3 big wins come with that move. First, raw speed, faster CPU for snappier navigation and instant app launches. Second, graphics, a new generation GPU with hardware-accelerated ray tracing for realistic lighting and reflections in games. Third, the neural engine. Vastly more on-device AI horsepower, which is key if Apple brings some Apple Intelligence experiences to the TV. And yes, let's address Apple Intelligence right now. Apple has been rolling it out in phases on iPhone, iPad, and Mac. tvOS isn't front and center in Apple's AI story yet, but an Apple TV with an A17 Pro class chip makes one thing clear. The box would be powerful enough to run meaningful on-device intelligence if Apple chooses to bring it to the living room. Imagine a smarter, truly conversational Siri that can understand requests, like, find the episode where the dragon shows up in season 3, or show me cozy thrillers I haven't watched. Yet across all my apps, or start movie night, dim the lights, switch to the right HDMI profile, and play Dolby Atmos. That's the kind of cross-app, context-aware help people actually want on a TV. Whether Apple ships all of that on day one is the big unknown, but the hardware looks aimed at it. Now, here's a sleeper upgrade almost nobody talks about, and it could be huge for streaming quality. Modern hardware video decoding, including AV1. A17 Pro class silicon brings a more advanced media engine, and AV1 decoding would let services like YouTube, Netflix, and others deliver the same 4K HDR quality at lower bit rates. Translation, sharper video, fewer compression artifacts, and more stability on average home internet, even at prime time. If you watch a lot of YouTube or you live somewhere with variable bandwidth, this is the kind of upgrade you'll feel every single night without even thinking about it. Let's talk gaming, because this is where the Apple TV has quietly been itching to level up. With an A17 Pro class GPU and hardware ray tracing, developers could port some of the same titles that already run on iPhone 15 Pro, titles that were never realistic on the current Apple TV. Pair that with your favorite Bluetooth controller, and you've got a living room experience that dips into console territory for the first time on Apple's box. No, you're not replacing a high-end console. But for Apple Arcade hits, premium indie games, and the growing list of big-name ports, this hardware would finally give developers headroom to make the TV version the best version. If Apple also flips on more HDMI 2.1 features, think variable refresh rate or even 4K at higher frame rates for games, that would be a statement that Apple cares about the living room in a way it hasn't before. Home theater lovers, here's what to watch for. The community's most requested feature is HDMI pass-through, an HDMI input that lets Apple TV sit between your devices and your TV, overlaying Apple's clean interface and handling audio and video switching like a pro. Will Apple do it? No promises, but it would solve a lot of headaches and instantly make the Apple TV your home theater hub. At minimum, expect Apple to refine what's already there. Robust Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus support. Rock-solid frame rate and dynamic range matching. And improved EARC behavior for routing TV audio to speakers like HomePods. If Apple adds quick media switching to reduce those annoying black screen flashes when switching frame rates, that alone would be a quality-of-life upgrade you notice every single day. Connectivity upgrades are also likely. The current model already does a great job with Wi-Fi, but a new box could jump to Wi-Fi 6E or even Wi-Fi 7, cutting interference and boosting speed for large 4K HDR streams. On the wired side, the Ethernet model would remain the choice for rock-solid stability. Expect the Apple TV to continue as a thread border router for your smart home, helping Matter devices connect faster and more reliably. And on the Bluetooth side, updated radios mean lower latency audio for AirPods and tighter controller responsiveness for gaming. Now, the remote. Everyone has opinions, and most of them start with, "Give me backlit buttons and a way to find it when it slides into the couch." A refreshed Siri remote with backlighting and Find My support would be a small change with outsized impact. It's one of the most user-friendly upgrades Apple could make. Another smart move would be a slightly better mic and smarter voice pickup, so you can whisper "pause" during a quiet moment or ask for captions without yelling across the room. None of this is flashy, but it's exactly the kind of polish Apple is known for. Design-wise, don't expect a radical new shape. The compact fanless puck does its job. Apple may push the material story, more recycled content, fewer plastics, to align with its environmental goals. Smaller, lighter, cleaner inside and out. So why hasn't Apple shipped it yet? The simplest answer is timing. Apple likes to launch new hardware alongside software that makes it feel new, not just faster.
If Apple is baking deeper intelligence into tvOS, smarter search across apps, better recommendations that respect your privacy, more powerful voice control for your smart home, that software needs to be ready.
Apple's approach to on-device AI is careful. Do as much as possible locally, and only use private, secure cloud compute when necessary. Getting that right in the living room, where multiple people share a device, takes time. The upside? When it lands, it should feel cohesive and immediately useful. All right, the two windows to watch. First, the obvious one, the holiday season. If Apple is going to catch late-year shoppers, dropping a new Apple TV right as a major tvOS update rolls out would make sense. It would also give developers time to update their apps and games in the most important retail window of the year. If that slips, circle early 2026. Apple has a history of early-year launches that pair cleanly with software point releases, and that timing lines up with big viewing moments in the US, think playoff runs and the lead-up to the big game, when people upgrade TVs and streaming boxes. Bottom line, late 2025 is still in play, early 2026 is the safety net. What about price? Apple nailed it with the current lineup, an entry model for Wi-Fi users and a slightly pricier version with Ethernet and more storage. Expect a similar structure. The sweet spot has been around $100 to $29 for the Wi-Fi model and around $100 to $49 for Ethernet with larger storage. Even if Apple nudges those by $20, it would still be positioned well under a game console while offering premium streaming, top-tier app performance, and what could become the best AI-enhanced TV experience on the market. Now, should you wait or buy the current model? Here's the honest take. If you just need a rock-solid streaming box for 4K HDR with the best app quality, superb color accuracy, and zero drama, the current Apple TV 4K is still excellent. It will continue to get software updates, and it's a pleasure to use. But if any of this excites you, more advanced gaming, potential Apple Intelligence features in the living room, better hardware decoding for cleaner 4K, possibly smarter home theater integration, it's worth waiting a little longer. The next box won't just be faster. It's poised to feel meaningfully more capable. Before we wrap, picture this. You sit down on a Friday night and say, "Play something new I'll like, no spoilers." Your lights dim to your movie scene. Your TV switches to the right settings. And Apple TV pulls a top pick across all your services, skipping the one you already started on your phone. You pause and ask, "Who's that actor?" You get the answer without leaving the scene. You ask for captions only during loud moments, and they appear just when they should. None of that requires a sci-fi future. It requires capable hardware, smarter software, and a company willing to make the TV experience calm, personal, and actually helpful. That's the promise of this next Apple TV. So here's your checklist to watch for. An A17 Pro class chip, hardware ray tracing, AV1 decoding for better streams, upgraded wireless, a smarter remote you can finally find in the couch, and hints of Apple Intelligence showing up where it's genuinely useful. If Apple pairs that with even one home theater crowd pleaser, like HDMI pass-through or improved EARC handling, it's going to be the easiest upgrade decision of the year. When it lands, it'll feel like the Apple TV finally caught up to Apple's vision for everything else. Fast, thoughtful, private, and quietly powerful. And when it does, your living room won't just stream. It'll think.